Captain's Log. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you. You made it to Friday. How was my week? It was not great, I will be honest. To the point where I would prefer to actually not talk about my week. I'll talk about my day, though. That was fine. That was actually, at the end, quite nice. But anyway, turned in my assignments. All good. Did a presentation. All good. Have a week to transcript a script that I've already written. I just have to put it into a different format. So it's written, it's formatted correctly, I just gotta copy and paste it into Word, but I have to do it manually because I can't... I do have to do some formatting for it. The dialogue is too wide, it has to be narrower. So I will have to do that, and in doing that, that means it takes up extra stanzas. Is that the right thing? I don't care. And there's a few more pages. We're not marked on pages, we're marked on, other stuff in it, but whatever. So it is extra pages, but it's the same length of the story. It just takes up more space on the, page, which is kind of funny. Will I talk about the script? I don't know, it's not that important. Anyway. So... because I didn't want to talk about my week, bar some talking points today, I was going to talk about the Riddler, surprise, surprise. So I was going to specifically talk about, just to clue you in, because I don't know how long I'm going to be before I start talking about it, but I wanted to talk about why I enjoy the Riddler as a character. How I discovered Riddler, what... Some people have asked me, Captain Vile, how'd you find out about Riddler when you were young or something? All that jazz. Anyway. So, I just want to get something before... Oh, my pen up here. Just on my shelf over here. So, whilst walking back home, I don't know if you can hear that, but number 9, roommate number 9 is very loudly singing. I hate him so much. I don't know if I mentioned... I'm going to put a pin in this too, because I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if it's 30 minutes, so be it, because I got a lot to talk about. I think I've talked about number 9 taking people's milk, in front of me. I think I just talked about that with my dad while calling him. I might have. I'll give you, the cut to the chase. Number 9 wrote his name on milk, and, made a very big, he wrote his name, big red marker, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, blah, 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 blah. I hate him so much. Anyway. I was making cereal, and he went to the other fridge. I did talk about this. I did. He's using other people's milk, but he's writing his name on his milk. So he's being incredibly hypocritical. But, every time anyone walks into the room where he's in it, he, stops what he's doing and looks over to see who's in the room. Who's just walked in. As if he's doing something wrong. As if he's up to something and is about to be caught. And, fair enough, you could just be curiosity. But I do have to... I am not so... unself-aware? There's probably a better term for it. Oblivious. I am not so oblivious to my response to his actions that I cannot see what's happened. There is a quote, I don't know who said it, but it goes, "Once you hate someone, everything they do is offensive." And that rings true here. I mean, he's an obnoxious asshole. But I would not be twice as upset at him for the mundane things he does if I didn't despise him on a personal level. I hate his guts. But anyway, he is a terrible roommate. But, he always acts like he's up to something. Whenever you walk in the room, he stops what he's doing and he looks at you as you walk into the door. So it seems like he's always up to something. So I'm just going to treat him like he's always up to something. I'm never going to trust him again. I never did trust him, but now I'm going to be actively distrustful of him. Because that's kind of like a psychology thing, but it's like on the opposite end of it. It's like well, they think I'm a liar, so why don't I just lie? But it's like, I think that guy's a liar, so I'm going to treat him like a liar. So I suppose what I'm doing isn't fair, but I don't care. I don't like him. I hate him. He dropped my milk twice, and is generally just obnoxious. So I don't care. Whatever. Anywho, the positive thing that happened to me today, yeah, you know that? I got complimented. Gee, Captain, that sounds pretty pathetic to be a standout moment. Yes, it is. It was so standout that I wrote about it in my journal. And I have only written... I don't write about anything in my journal often. I bet you didn't even know I had a journal, because I never talked about it, because I just started it. That's the other thing that I wrote about in my journal that I'm not going to talk about, but that happened in my week. It's just like big moments. And this is up there, if you ask me. Anyway, as I was walking home in a car. I'm just reading from the journal. Here, I'll just read for it's one page. This is like a 20-minute video podcast? I don't know. Whatever. As I walked home, a car pulled up beside me. Inside were two women. One blonde, one brunette. The blonde driver, or was she the driver? Let's see. That would, yes, I'm reading. This is, I wrote, let's see. That would be right. So, ... No, she wasn't driving. She asked the brunette to pull over. When she did, she said, quote, "I like your sideburns," unquote. I thanked her while stunned, and the pair drove off. I haven't been complimented since April 26, 2003, when a girl said she liked my outfit, out of the blue. She was also with a friend. Strange. Is that a pattern? Let's see in, like, 2 years. I'm so happy. And that's the end of the page. So yes, Captain Vile got a compliment today. I got a compliment on my sideburns. But not just that, like, they pulled their car over and said, "I like your sideburns," and then drove off. So yes, it made me feel quite nice. I have gotten compliments, but I seldom get in-person compliments. Because I'm a peculiar-looking man who wears peculiar-looking clothes. But, hey, I'm trying to think of I don't know. This isn't even a thing. Every time you go to a store and you're like, that is a ridiculous-looking pair of pants, someone walks by and like, that's a cool pair of pants. There is a taste for every flavor. I don't know. I am a strange-looking man, but someone likes me. I got two separate, between 2 years, I got complimented twice in person. They were complete strangers. It was just my appearance. Just my fashion sense. I guess sideburns is also fashion sense, since I have, like, purposely shaved to have sideburns. Whatever. Complete strangers, knew nothing about me. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Riddler now. I've gone on about, like, my 10 minutes here. Some would say yes. I enjoy the Riddler as a character. Some would say I fixate on the Riddler as a character. Other, less passionate people might believe that I obsess on the Riddler. But I enjoy the Riddler. I've enjoyed the Riddler since I was... Well, not enjoyed the Riddler since I was a boy. I've enjoyed riddles since I was a boy. And that is something I'd like to clear up, truth be told. I am I don't blame anyone for thinking this if you know nothing about me, which most of you do. I'm very reserved. I don't talk about my personal life that much. Anyway, ever since I was a boy, I have loved riddles. And question marks. And question marks. Yes. People think that I enjoy riddles, question marks, and the color green because I enjoy the Riddler, but that's not true. I enjoy the Riddler because I enjoy riddles, question marks, and the color green, and I have done so since I was a boy. And I got bullied in middle school because I kept asking riddles and drawing question marks. Yes, I enjoyed question marks before I knew who Riddler was. They're fun to draw. Whenever I was in school, and we had a spare moment, or I had finished a test early, or I just was, you know how people draw, like, sharks, or the teacher being beheaded in their notebook, very crudely, I drew question marks. I drew question marks and mazes. Very rigid and jagged. I mean, I also drew, like, sharks and stickmen trying to get over gaps via various methods, like pole vaulting or planes or bridges or whatever. But I digress. I have enjoyed question marks for years, before Riddler, and I have enjoyed riddles for years. Now, I don't remember the first riddle I ever made when I was young, but I remember the answer, funny enough. So, the answer to the first riddle I ever made is the Loch Ness Monster. But I can't remember what the riddle was. I remember it involved teeth. Teeth was part of the riddle. But the second riddle I ever made, and I'll get into this later, ironically, it's worthless. Because it's my riddle. Whenever I ask a riddle, I ask this riddle. People know it as my riddle. Oh, people, yeah, oh, in scholarly circles, this is the Captain Vile riddle. But whatever. Whenever I ask my friends riddles, they know it. I run through tunnels every night and all day long. I only see light when something is wrong. What am I? That is the second riddle I've ever made, and I've been telling it for years. I'll give you a second to think about the answer, and then I'm going to say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is blood. Blood. Did you get it? You probably got it, because you probably knew it. Because... And I love this. And I'm jumping ahead so much here. And I'll get to everything that I can, don't worry. But I get to talk about riddles. Don't you know how exciting this is for me? Forgive me for being a bit, like off the walls here. Somewhat. This is like a sloth being off the walls. Yeah, no, this is a slow show. But it's now. Ooh. Now it's a regular paced show. Okay, so I loved riddles because of two reasons. They were the truth, told in a peculiar way, but if too many people knew how to say that truth in that way, it was worthless. Just like my blood riddle. What time is it when an elephant sits on your fence? It's time to get a new fence. What's black and white and red all over? A newspaper. When is a door not a door? When is a jar? Those are classic riddles, but they're well known. They're good, but they're fundamentally worthless because they're known. And I love that fact. That little, like, flame that burns twice as bright, burns half as long, kind of wearing in that ballpark. I hope you get what I'm saying. It's like, a good riddle can only be a good riddle for so long, and then it's useless. And I found that idea so interesting. And I've been making riddles for years. And I do tell... There are some that I prefer to tell than others, but I try and tell them... I try and diversify which riddles I give to people, to avoid that, to kind of keep them alive a little bit longer. Unlike the tried and true, like, blood riddle, which time has not been kind to. Oh, poor blood riddle. I have not been kind to it. I've done it a disservice with that. But I try and honor it. It may be worthless, but it has sentimental value. But I always love that idea of just... So it's you're describing an object in a peculiar way. But if you know how to describe that object in that specific way, you can't do it. It's worthless. I just found that so interesting. Now on to when I discovered Batman. We're on to why I enjoyed riddles and why I enjoyed question marks. Green's just... It's a nice color. It's pleasing on the eyes. What do you want from me? Anyway, on to Batman. I wasn't the biggest Batman fan, as I am now. I was aware of the character and his villains, but I only had a very surface-level understanding of his villains. So, I only knew Riddler as the guy in the green suit who has riddles. I didn't know anything about his personality. As a foolish boy, I still believed that Joker was his nemesis. But now I know the truth. I now know that the only true nemesis for the world's greatest detective is the world's greatest mystery, the Riddler. I'm getting ahead of myself, of course. But I knew who the Riddler was. I can't quite remember. Like, try and imagine when you first found out who Batman was, alright? It's just... It's in culture, alright? It's kind of hard to pin down, like... Well, when did you first learn about birds or something? That's like a, wow, you engage in way too much pop culture. If that's like your example, I know, but whatever, okay? Okay, the first time I found out about a Riddler was on Christmas morning. I forget the year. But my parents had just bought me Arkham Asylum. And I was playing through it, and I was having a blast. I was mesmerized by the cape physics on Batman, the punching clowns combat. It felt so cool. It was so smooth. I was having the time of my life. I had never played another game like it. It was like doing cocaine. It was awesome. It was fun. And then I had gotten to, what is it? It's like the second or third Predator section. Or maybe the first real Predator section. I know Arkham City and Arkham Knight way better than Arkham Asylum. You want me to recite an Arkham Knight or City Riddler line right now? Just off the bat? I could do it. But Arkham Asylum? I mean, it's the Enigma show. I'm Edward Nigma, the world's greatest detective. Like, yeah, there's those. But, like, I don't know them as well. Anyway. I had just gotten it, and then Riddler hacked into my comms. And I was made aware of him as a character. And I found it so interesting. And I was like, there's riddles in this game! And I never had put the two together. My love of riddles and the Riddler. I had never connected the dots because I was a stupid kid. And I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing that earlier. I could have been like this years ago. Anyway, so I had then not touched the main story at all. I would not move on to other environments until I had gotten every riddle. Every single Riddler trophy was mine. I spent hours just searching the asylum. Just looking at every detail in the asylum for possible riddles, because I was new, essentially, to the DC universe. I didn't know any of these characters. I didn't know who Prometheus was. I didn't know who Black Mass was. I was like, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? And in doing so, I found a detail that I have not found anyone else talk about, and I think I know how Riddler escaped from Arkham Asylum during the chaos. Or specifically, I know where in the asylum he escaped from. Again, I don't know Arkham Asylum as well as I do Arkham City and Arkham Knight, alright? I can't, like, pinpoint a, oh, I know where this is. I can't go, like, GeoGuessr. But it's, like, where Harley Quinn's office is. And it's where Commissioner Gordon in the Scarecrow dream sequence gets dragged in the vents. Alright, it's in that area. if you look at the floor, you can see the same textures in Riddler's cell of the question marks and the footprints and the handprints. And I think there was a scuffle, and that's how Riddler got out. That's him like fighting off the guards or something, I don't know, and him breaking out. That's where if you go in that area, I'm pretty sure it's either in that area or a different. It's in like a medical area. It's either in that area or in the area where Harley Quinn is with the electrified floors, but not that specific area, just in that building. The penitentiary? Whatever. I'm getting ahead of myself. I always found that was so interesting. I just loved doing that. But as the game went on, and I like found out about Riddler's personality, his like egotisticalness, his insecurity, and his like need for attention, I loved the character. I enjoyed the character. I was like, oh, he's the scavenger hunt, and then I loved the character, especially since I loved how it was written. Riddler is causing himself to be captured. The more you collect the riddles, the more Riddler calls in and says that you're cheating or something. And the more he does that, the more like time Batman has to like trace the call and find out where he's calling from. Riddler, if he could let enough alone, if he could let well enough alone, that's the saying, he would have been fine. But that like insecurity and that need for Batman to know he's better than them being what gets him caught is why I loved how that's written so much. And that's pretty consistent throughout all the Arkham games, and in comics, decently. And I love that aspect of the character. I love that he is basically his own worst enemy. I find that so interesting. And of course, I was like, "Ooh, this is my favorite Riddler." And then I like branch out and like, "Oh, these are different," because I had not gotten into comic books before. And that's where the idea for how Riddler's Riddler came from, if you're wondering. It took me a while to do it, to really form, like, I had to read a bunch of Riddler stories, get the right, like, okay, no, he would do this should be a rule, that should be a rule, I can start with this one, and then various, like, oh, I want this music playing here, oh, I want this to look like that, blah, 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 technical crap that doesn't matter from the story. But anyway, I was like, which one of these is the Riddler? Because to me, if you were to ask me, this is not accurate, this is my opinion, but if you were to ask me, what pops into your head when you think of the Riddler? It's the Arkham games. Specifically Arkham Knight, because I have the most... Arkham Knight or Arkham City. But that's really because it was my introduction to the Riddler. For some people, maybe it's Jim Carrey. For some people, maybe it's the Batman 2022. Those people are wrong, by the way. Those people are morons. But anyway, I always found it was like, well, these are different. This is Riddler, but it's not this Riddler. So there's differences. Which one's more Riddler? And that's where the idea came from for the show. I'm rambling on way more in this particular episode, but I mean, it's something I'm passionate about. These aren't scripted. I probably should have scripted this one, to be honest. Whatever. Maybe I'll expand upon this later on with like, so Captain, how'd you get into Riddler and riddles and whatnot? But that's how. Arkham Asylum, when I was a kid. Christmas morning. Imagine a young Captain Vile. Before I had a unibrow. Before I wore Hawaiian shirts. Before I had a goatee, actually. No, the unibrow was before the goatee. The unibrow, I had a unibrow since I was like 13, alright? I've had this for years. But the goatee, or the beard, or whatever, because it doesn't go around my lips. It's not a mustache connected to my chin. It's just on my chin. So I'm gonna call it a goatee. And that was like... I think that was middle school. But that was like last year of middle school. No. That was first year of high school, which is around when I started wearing the Hawaiian shirts. But I'm not getting into all that stuff. That's not important. We're talking about Riddler. Oh well. As I said, maybe I'll expand upon this. Maybe I won't. But if you want to know, now you do. Vaguely, if you could decipher what the hell I'm talking about. because rambling. But rambling means the episode is over. I've run out of things to talk about. Oh well. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Stay tuned to Gotham